Hey friends, Tony here with the Pooter Stomper channel and instructor at the Pathfinder School. And in this video, we're going to talk about next fire mentality in charred punk wood. We're going to walk through the woods. I'm going to show you guys how to find punk wood. I'm going to show you how to char it and then talk about how you can utilize that to make continuous fires after you establish your first fire. So let's get started. Okay, so let's talk about where you can find punk wood. Punk wood can be found in trees that have been laying on the ground for a while, like these ones here. This one's not completely on the ground, but there's a few back here that have. And punk wood is the spongy, decaying wood that's on the inside. Now, we have this here, which is very spongy. And although I do believe that this will work, we're gonna see if we can find another example around here. You just kind of kick open these trees here, pick it up. Real spongy. It's got a lot of dirt in it though. That'll make it difficult. Let's open this up. This will definitely work, but I think we can find something better. Here we go. I think let's look at this one. So right here is what we want, this bright colored spongy type wood right here, and you can just dig your fingers in there and get a big chunk of it off. Try to keep these in as big of chunks as you can, because as you bake these in your container, they are going to shrink to about 1/4 of their size. So we're just going to grab a good handful of these and go through here and make sure you pick off any hard parts. And it's okay, this is pretty wet. That's not a big deal. The moisture will be the first thing that cooks out of this. But we just want to make sure we have some really soft, spongy material here. There's a good piece. Break off the harder part. Let's go back to camp. Okay, at this point, you're going to want to find yourself a metal container, one that's not airtight so the gases can escape. This Pathfinder titanium bow and lid set has a few holes on the top here where the gases can escape. All we're going to do is put our punk wood in there. We're going to close the lid, put it in our sticks here. Now, talking about next fire mentality for a second, if I'm in a true survival situation, I'm going to use my Bic lighter the first time. Instant gratification, instant flame. We're going to use that first, but the fuel in here runs out quickly. So we want to make sure that we save this for absolute emergencies. There's a couple other cons to using the Bic lighter. They don't work very well in cold conditions or in windy conditions, but all we're going to do is light this birch bark here, put our sticks over top. We want to try to get it to where it's going to wrap around this container so it cooks very quickly. Okay, now that we have a sustainable fire built, all we do is wait. Should take about 10 minutes or so, maybe a few more minutes because that punk wood was wet. Take a couple of minutes to bake out all that moisture before it starts actually charring the material. And what I normally do is I just wait for the fire to pretty much burn all the way down, and it's usually done by then. But the most important part of all of this is coming up, and we'll talk about that here in a minute. Okay, our fire's almost burnt all the way down. We're still going to give it a few minutes. Before I pull that off there, there's one thing I need to tell you guys. You can't overcook your char. You can only undercook it. So you can leave this in there for hours, days, it doesn't matter. As long as no oxygen gets introduced to the punk wood itself, you can't overcook it. If you were to pull that off and then immediately open it, it's going to introduce oxygen while it's still hot, and it's going to burn it, and it'll be useless. You got to think about the triangle of fire. You've got heat, fuel, and oxygen. We're giving it the fuel, which is the punk wood itself. We're giving it the heat. We're just starving it of oxygen, and that's what turns it into a piece of carbon. So actually, I'd say this is probably about done. What I'm going to do is just take this and scoot it out of the fire, and we're just going to let this rest. And I'm going to flip it over because the holes are on the top there. I just want to make sure there's not going to be any oxygen that gets introduced. So we'll give that a few minutes, let it cool down to the touch, open it up and see what it looks like. If it's not all the way done, we'll just put it back in there, give it a few more minutes, and repeat the process. Okay, our container is cool to the touch. Still a little bit warm, but it should be a low enough temperature where it's not going to burn it. All we're going to do is just take it out and take a look at it. Should just be all black, and it should be very soft. It should break apart really easy. This actually turned out really nice. Now that may not look like a whole lot, but you can get a lot of fires out of this. But if you wanted to get some more, you can throw some fresh punk wood in here with this. It's not going to hurt it. Like I said, you're not going to overdo this. So really the next step is just to test it. And what I'm going to do is I'm just going to dump it out on my lid here. I'm going to grab my knife and then my piece of flint, and I'm just going to see if it'll take. There it is right there. I don't know if you can see that or not. Let's take a look right there. You can see it glowing in there. So this is good charred material, and all I got to do is just put the lid back on, maybe put it back upside down, starve it of oxygen, and it's good to go. Now the true beauty of using charred materials when you're thinking about next fire mentality is the fact that you can use many different methods to ignite the punk wood. You can use the flint and steel like I just showed you. You can use your ferro rod, or you can use a magnifying lens like the one on this Sunto MC2. Many different ways you can ignite charred material. Put it in your bird's nest, blow it to flame, put it in your fire lay, and you're good to go. And you can always make more charred material. So if you need to use a lot of your char to get your bird's nest going, especially if it's a damp bird's nest, use all of it. Go grab you some more punk wood, and as soon as you get your fire going, make some more. I can walk through these woods and I can find 4 trees within 100 meters that has plenty of punk wood on it, and I bet you probably can too. So get out in the woods, have a good time, enjoy yourself, learn a few things, and if you enjoyed this video and want to see more like it, be sure to leave me a comment down below. Let me know what you think. And all the gear that you've seen in this video can be found by clicking all the links down in my description box. It really helps me out. I appreciate it, and until next time, y'all take care, and I'll see you on the next one.